Ephesians chapter 5, 15 and 16 puts it this way. Be careful then how you live, not as an unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because not only are the days short, but the days are evil. Okay, and we'll dig into that a little bit, of how opportunities are also potentially both good and evil. But I want you to note this down if you're taking notes, or take mental notes. God will give you the wisdom. He's willing to give you the wisdom to make the most of every opportunity. In other words, when you step into a place of commitment, you step into a place of choice, you step into some type of track to get somewhere in a relationship, you'll be able to do okay on your own. But when we tap into the wisdom of God, into the influence of God in relationship with God through Jesus Christ, we're able to get the most out of every opportunity, every moment that comes our way in life. Life has so many opportunities for us to kind of step into and accomplish. The Word of God says that God desires us to obtain the desires of our heart. Those dreams, those goals, those desires, to be able to accomplish great things for yourself, for your family, to honor your parents, to honor your heritage, to bless your community, to honor God. I believe those are dreams and goals and things that God has placed in you so that He would be glorified, but that you also learn that there are opportunities that with God's help you can do the most of in those moments. We need to understand that in order to take advantage of these opportunities and seizing the moments, we need to tap into God's wisdom. Because our knowledge, our wisdom is limited. I believe it was last Sunday, if not before that, but Pastor Matt, maybe we were just talking. He was talking about how God's thoughts are higher. They transcend. They're above and beyond. What came to me was that God has the vantage point of past, present, and future. So if we're able to tap into that wisdom, into that knowledge, that heavenly knowledge, it would empower us to take steps forward that would allow us to make the most of every opportunity. Some of you today that have not committed yourself to a life partnered with Jesus Christ, you may have the opportunity today to seize this moment and take a step of faith. So that now every opportunity that comes your way, you're not alone on it. You have heavenly wisdom that comes your way. The heavenly wisdom that gives us insight and foresight and a profound understanding of not what just is happening in front of me, but how it relates to my life in general and to the people around me. It is wisdom. I want to just touch on 3 access points to connecting with God's wisdom. Because you're probably thinking like, okay, that's great, but how do I get that? How do I build that? It's a process. It's not a destination. It's a lifelong process that we build on it. But there are 3 access points that the Bible teaches us in regards to tapping into God's heavenly wisdom. Number 1, somebody say number 1. Pray for wisdom. The Bible is very specific that God is willing to give wisdom to those that would ask for it. Pray for it. Solomon, one of the most influential people, one of the most affluent people in the history of man. I mean, his riches, his wealth, his fame, his power, I mean, were above and beyond anybody you can think of. And one of the things he asked early on from God was not the riches. He asked for the wisdom. And if we can be able to just trust God that He will provide us the wisdom and understanding we need for the moments, we'll begin to build that exchange of prayer. Because it is in prayer that we talk to God. He listens to us. It's an exercise that doesn't benefit Him, it benefits us. When we speak up and we speak out, when we're vulnerable with Him, when we can be vulnerable maybe in moments to our wife, to our spouse, to our children, to our friend, we can come before a God that is ever loving and loves us unconditionally and just open up to Him and ask and we will receive. We can knock and it will be open. We can seek and it will be fine. It is prayer that is a great access point to find that wisdom that we need. Somebody say number 2. Number 2 access point to godly wisdom is to follow the Word. We preach out of the Bible. We teach out of the Bible. You know, it is great to listen on Sundays, on podcasts, on YouTube, like we want to revisit them and all these different things. But it's more important not only to listen, not only to hear, but to do, to act. How do we tap into God's wisdom? We receive the word, we act on it, we obey it. It is in that practice that we build wisdom that is from heaven, that is from God, that is from the creator of the heavens and the earth, him who has past, present, and future. It is the wisdom that we can tap into. It is through the word of God. And finally, we touched on this earlier in some earlier messages in this sermon series. Somebody say, number three. Third access point to godly wisdom is to seek godly counsel. Our pastors do a great job. We make the best effort to prepare ourselves so that as we share this word, it is not ours. It is not our opinion, our thoughts. It is through the word of God. It is through his counsel. When you hear the preachings, you hear the songs, you listen to worship music at home, you talk to folks, you reach out to pastors, but not only pastors, other folks within the church community. And I want to do a shameless plug again. It's not shameless. It's full of pride and joy. Venture groups. Somebody say venture groups. Venture group is a great opportunity to connect with other folks of faith, of the same struggle, but also of the same desire to honor God and to work with God in life. Seeking godly counsel. I mean, I know there's nobody here that can say, I know it all. I can do it all. My way is better than any other way. Seek godly counsel. Talk to folks that God can use to support you in stepping into those moments and seizing and taking advantage of those opportunities and truly living life. Not just existing, not just doing, not just punching in and out, not going through the routine, but seizing every moment that comes before us. In regards to opportunities and moments that come before us, they're based off the dreams, the visions that each and every one of us has in our life. They may be academic endeavors that you want to reach out to get that degree, get that certification. It might be in your profession, in your work, to get to the next step. It might be in business. It might be in relationships and trying to build a new relationship. We have all these dreams and visions of what we want to do and don't want to do. It may be maybe a certain struggle that we're dealing with and we're trying to get over and learn from it and continue to live life. We have all these dreams of accomplishing it. So the question is not, do you have a dream or a vision of that moment you're going to seize? Is what are you doing about it? See, Dr. Martin Luther King's dream speech wasn't impactful and doesn't resound and echo through history because the way he said it. It was because his life embodied that dream. To seek equality and justice for everyone. He was so fully acting upon it that he, in essence, gave his life for his dream. And maybe he didn't see it fulfilled completely, and there's still great progress to be done. But it was accomplished in his part because he seized his moment. He knew this was the opportunity to create waves not only in that day, but throughout future history to come. And in the same way, each and every one of you have goals, dreams, desires, callings from God to do certain things. But the matter of the fact is, the question is, what are we doing about it? So many dreams and goals and moments get lost because instead of focusing on God, we kind of look inwardly. And when we look in the mirror, the natural reaction is, I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. I don't think it's my time. But this, but that, but he, but her. Initially, when Moses, was called to lead, he felt like it was too much for him. God calls him in 1 Kings Exodus 3:11 to reach a whole nation out of captivity. And Moses says to God, not a messenger of God, not an angel, not a person that came to say, hey, here's your moment. Moses responds to God and says, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Who am I? Instead of focusing on who God was and who was calling him to do this great thing, he looked inwardly and said, who am I? Instead of remembering who God of his fathers was and the great things that he could do in him and through him, had done in history, he said, who am I? So many characters. I believe Pastor Adams in our sermon series also talked about Gideon. who was challenged to do this great thing and this great opportunity. And the first thing he looks at is himself and his family. I'm the least of my family. Who am I? So many dreams are there. So many moments and opportunities that we have. You may be sitting on an opportunity and on a moment that you're just stalling and stalling and stalling for whatever reason. And you're thinking, well, me. What about me? I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do. I don't know if I'm ready. It's a time. I'm here to inspire somebody by the word of God that we are able to seize the moments if it is partnered with God. We can step out forward in courage, not worrying about what our weaknesses and what our weaknesses in our life is, but we can begin to look at God and understand that He is such a good and loving and great God, that He has spoken so many truths and promises over your life that all you need to do is seize that moment and step forward. I want you to note this down and remember this. It's not a risk when you step out in faith. It's not a risk when you step out in faith. It's risky if you're out on your own, by your own mind, your own intellect, your own opinion, our own pride. That's risky. But when you step out in faith, trusting in God, praying to God, following His word, hearing godly counsel. When you step out, it's not a risk anymore. See, because as we get older, and I'm getting older, I'm going to share this now in case anybody wants to send me some Amazon gifts. It is my birthday tomorrow. We're going to put up my address real quick. I'm just kidding. We're not going to put my address. But as I got older, we understand we're less risk averse, right? When I was a kid, I was that guy. I was that kid. Now, who was going to do it? Oh, Isaac will do it. I'll do it. That was me. Now it's like, who's going to do it? I'm like, yeah, who is going to do it? Because there's about a 10% chance I'm going to break my ankle. Now I need to go to work. I take out the trash. I got kids. It's like you get risky. So you get focused on risk. So as you get older, you're always on risk. This is risky. What is you're not even focused on the rate on the return. You're focused on what's the risk here. But when we step out in faith, when God calls us, when He presents His opportunity to you and you feel it in your soul like, wow, this is something I had been praying for, desiring. If you begin to focus on the risk, you're going to be stalled. You're going to be paralyzed there. But when you begin to focus on God, on our faith in God, it's not a risk anymore. Because even if I break my ankle in this, figuratively speaking, even if I get hurt in this process, I know that God would turn things that feel like they're bad into something good. So when we step in faith, it is not a risk anymore. It is an opportunity for us to seize the moment. So please do not spend more time overanalyzing, overplanning, overthinking when you have God's call in your life. When you know God is calling you to make that certain decision, take that certain step into it. Seize your moment. Future, any name, Isaac is telling you, seize that opportunity, that moment. Many times, one of the big excuses that we use when struggling to step into this opportunity and take the next step, maybe it's in our faith. Today, some of you maybe are guests or are hearing about Jesus for the first time or have heard of Jesus already, but I've been on the fence about really committing to a relationship with Jesus. Today, you may get the opportunity to seize the moment and say yes to Jesus, to His forgiveness, to His love, to the salvation of our souls. Take advantage and seize the moment, not because I tell you, but because you know and believe this is a right thing to do. But sometimes we're like, it doesn't fit in my life. This opportunity does not fit in my life. This degree, this new business venture, this relationship, this thing does not fit in my life. I'm too busy. What I've learned in my life, if I'm too busy or overwhelmed with things to seize moments, it's usually two reasons. One of them, you're doing the things God doesn't want you to do. You're doing something in that body of work that is not meant for you. So if there's no room for God, if there's no room for that new venture that God is leading you to, if there's no room for that opportunity for you to seize that moment, if there's no room, you're jam-packed and there's something in there that you're not supposed to be doing, that God didn't call you to do. So that's one of the reasons. The other reasons why people feel like they're overwhelmed, I'm too busy for this opportunity or this moment, it's because we may be doing what God has called us to do, but we're doing it the wrong way. We have the wrong attitude. We have the wrong motives, the wrong intentions. So today, let's let the Spirit of God and the Word of God analyze. Why am I stuck? Not being able to be present. I'm more anxious about the future than present today. Why am I stuck? Not being able to seize this moment and step into this opportunity. I've done my research, my work, but I still feel stuck. We will not be able to seize those moments if we're chained down by unnecessary activities, by unhealthy relationships, by thoughts that are against the thoughts of God, by fear. We will not be able to seize the moments and the opportunity in our life if we want to do things the same way like always. I don't want to change, but I want to change in my life. Does that make sense to you? I want things differently, but I don't want to change, but I want to change in my life. It requires a transformation, a renewal, a shift, a change in our life. If you haven't said yes to Jesus in your life, this is an opportunity for us to surrender our life to God if we really want transformation in our whole life. If we want a new opportunity in our life, we may have to step into opportunities that give us the degrees, the certifications, the training, the experience to step into those places. Maybe some of you have been stuck. I mean, in a practical sense, in a job, in a situation, in a relationship that you've been struggling, you're spinning your wheels, you're bumping your head, and you need change. For change to come, we need to release the weights that are upon us, that are weighing us down. If you feel today like overwhelmed by life, like weighted down by life, like if you really think about it, right? I've been there. There's still times that it happens. Sometimes like I'm on Saturday or Sunday and I'm like I'm stressing out about Monday. I'm living in Monday. Like I've transported myself to Monday. And I'm there and I feel the weight today. If you feel weighted down today, overwhelmed, you're probably carrying weight that you shouldn't be carrying. You're carrying a burden that is not yours. Matthew 11:28, Jesus himself speaks to us, not from the future, but actually from the past, and still speaks today. He says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find the rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." I'm here to tell you today that God has and wants more for your life, but we must learn to step in and seize the moment, seize the opportunity that God has before us. Whatever it is, that degree, that healthy lifestyle, that business, that relationship, that yes to Jesus, whatever it is, we need to learn to seize the moment with the help of God.